Hello guys, welcome to this week's live retro build and trail stream. Nobody's joined just yet, so I'll wait just a little bit longer. Excuse me, wait just a little bit longer just to see if anybody joins. Hello, who's joined? Thank you for coming. Do you want to make a comment? Say who you are, where you know me from, which social media platform you're on. Thanks for joining. What you're doing this evening, what you're vaping on. So there has been like a 5-minute hold screen, but I'm just going to wait a bit longer just to let people join a bit. But if you're my normal viewer that appears but doesn't say anything, I appreciate you coming, mate. Hello, hello. Second person that's joined, thank you for joining. I'm just waiting a couple of more minutes just to see if more people join. If you want to make a comment, let me know who you are, what you're doing tonight, what you're vaping on, where do you know me from, which social media platform do you know me on. So there's 2 of you currently in. Thanks for joining, guys. Whoever's joined. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already. Just waiting a couple of more minutes to see who joins. Don't know if you're the same person. That's dipping out and in, but thank you. So if I'm not always looking at the screen, I am looking at 2 screens just next to me, my computer, which is on YouTube Studio, and then the TV, which is what is mirroring what I'm filming now. So I'm sorry if you hear anything in the background. Got my windows open because I'm vaping, so you might hear people in the background outside, kids playing, what have you. So I'm just going to wait another minute, wait till the 10-minute mark, and then I'll get started. Give this a little squonk. I'm still vaping on this Bonza and Topside Jewel. Right guys, let's get started. Welcome, I'm Faz, welcome to Sub-Home Enthusiast Retro Vapes live stream. This week we have got a beer, which you can just see there, which I'm going to crack open in a second. While you're here, I'll just give you a rundown of what I'm doing. I have a retro collection. This stream is going to consist of making some coils from scratch. Okay, so, and then building something retro and putting it on. Maybe something retro or, you know, a mod anyway to power it on. So if you've been following me through social media as well, you've probably seen this on my Instagram and Facebook. We'll get into that in a minute, but let me open this beer. So this beer, I hope, is not frozen, but this beer is a raspberry cream soda sour by Vault City, which I think is up in Scotland. I've got this because of Vaping Bogan. He had this on his story, and normally I can't find ones that he drinks, but I came across this going drink shopping and I got that. It's been in the freezer, so I'm hoping it hasn't frozen completely. But let's pop this open and get it poured. Wow, that does smell sour, and I do like a sour. Stout and a sour I love. Let's go in for the pour. There we are, that looks good. Yeah, thank God that didn't freeze over. But that's what I've got. So I just want to give a quick shout out to my wife Jane and Stephanie. If you know, you know. Everybody that's going to join this live stream and the replay crew. Cheers, guys. So it definitely smells sour, really, really sour. So let's have a taste. Cheers. Wow. That is not what I was expecting, but really nice and refreshing. It does have a cream soda vibe, but very sour and pucker. So I'm going to pair it with what I've got in the Bonza and the Topside Jewel. What I've got in this is an ice flavour, which is very shocking because I don't have ice flavours. But this is right mellow on the ice. So let me get this up. So this is what I've got in it. It is a Dark Stars Labs Ice Melonade. Like I said, it is an ice flavour, but it's not heavy on the ice. So I'm hoping this does make a comeback on Dark Star. So I'm hoping with the Melonade and stuff like that, it is going to pair nicely with this sour. So let's start again. Oh wow. That is really nice. Nice pairing. That it's weird. It takes away a bit of that ice flavour of the juice, but brings out that sour taste in the beer. But yeah, nice pairing. So let's get on with it. So if you know me on social media, you see that I post about this. Now, I did say I was going to reveal what's in here on my live stream, but there's good, there's bad, and there's good with this. So a bit of background. A guy posted on one of the Facebook groups that I'm on, a Mark Ebsworth. Okay, he posted that he'd got this big box of vape gear off a friend for free. And I commented and told him to message me if he was interested in maybe doing a trade and letting one of these tanks go. Anyway, he messaged me. He said, look, he says, I don't want anything. I don't even want a trade. I don't want no money for it. He goes, just pay for postage and I'll get it to you on Monday. So this was last week. Thursday, Friday last week. roundabout. So me being shocked by his generosity, I jumped at the chance. So anyway, it came yesterday, and as always, I'm excited to obviously get it out, post about it, but I thought I'd leave it for the thing. But there is a problem with it. So anyway, I'll just pull this out here. I won't go to a close-up, there's no point. So I did originally get a bubble glass with this, but it's not actually in here. But it was one of those. Retro RDAs, the OG, from Sam the Vaping Bug. Now these are really hard to get hold of at the moment. Okay, there's very rarely they've got them in stock. I think a few places have got the rainbow one in stock, but I'm not keen on the rainbow one. So let's see if you can. So that's the colour it was. That's how it came with that bubble glass on and dripped it. Still came with all the spares and everything on the inside. It's a black with a splat of pink. So I was chuffed. Because of the pink, I like pink. You know I like pink. People who follow me know that I like pink. Can you see the problem? Right, this isn't unlocked, is it? Yeah. Can you see the problem with it? Now, this didn't happen straight out of the box. Okay, I'd got it out of the box, I'd unscrewed the deck, and like I said, it didn't fall out straight away, the pin. I'd got the deck out, noticed that the deck was a little bit loose, which isn't a problem, just snug up the screw. Anyway, I went to go snug up the screw and it was very loose. So I'm turning it, thinking it's going to catch, get tighter. No. So anyway, I pulled the deck out and realised that the pin that was attached to the deck had snapped off the deck. So I'll just do that. Push that up, I'll show you. So there's the 510 pin there, and then that pole that's attached to it, that's the thread, and that normally goes on the bottom of the deck like that, and it's completely snapped off, so it's unusable. So anyway, the guy had messaged me, he says, look, as your thing arrived and everything, and I were like, it has, but it isn't usable. So if you've just joined, I'm talking about what I got. So like I said, there was good and bad. And good with this, as you can see the problem there, the 510 pin is broken and it's attached to the pole that's normally attached to the deck. So it's unusable. So like I said, the guy had messaged me, says, has it arrived and everything? I said, yes, it has arrived, but unfortunately it's not usable. So they were really nice about it. I mean, I wasn't too bothered because obviously he sent me it for free. I only paid for postage and packaging. And he basically apologised and said he was sorry that he genuinely didn't know that the RTA was like that. He just sent me the one that he isn't using. And he was being genuine. And the reason why I think he was being genuine, because what he's done is getting some new vape stuff next month. And he said he would be happy to send me the one that he's currently using when he gets some new vape stuff, which again, I'm touched. I've got getting something for free, and I think he was genuine. I mean, it's what I would have done if I were giving anybody anything for free. I would sort it out if something wasn't right. So, like I said, I don't know if it's for definite. I'm not going to hold it to it. If nothing comes out of it, the worst case scenario is if I can still find that rainbow one, that V1, because it's the V1. I might buy the rainbow one and just use the positive deck and pin out of that and put it into this one and use it. But we'll see how it goes. So it was a bit disappointing because I was going to do a bit of a switch up with today's stream because I was going to do a double build. But obviously that's not going to happen. So we'll see how that goes with that. But just at the moment, it is an ornament at the moment. But I suppose at least I've got one in my thingy. But I was excited to get it built and using it on this stream. So second person who's joined, who's ever's joined, cheers. I am drinking one of these, and it's nice. I've got another one, but it's currently in the fridge. Okay, so a bit through the stream, I'll have a break, take the dogs out, and I'll grab me other drink. Very nice and sour. That's nearly gone. That it's really nice. So next thing is working with one camera, which is my phone. So I haven't got a second camera, so we'll be moving the camera, and we'll get on to what I'm going to be building on, and then we'll make some coils. I am going to be making some alien coils, so if you watching this and you're thinking to yourself, oh, you've done alien coils before, I understand it's a popular coil, and just in case somebody's joined the stream that's interested or catches this video at a later date, they get to see how to make an alien, because I make all my own coils. I make them for myself, I make them for my friends. I don't do this professionally. I don't make them to sell, but I just enjoy vaping. It's my passion, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to just adjust and move my camera, because the past 3 episodes I forgot to move my mat back, and then I had to do it while the camera was still on it. So this just gives me a bit of extra room while I'm building. So that's moved, so I'm going to move the camera. So get this positioned. Oh, you can see the back of my room. So I'm going to pop that down. Move this down here, like so. I'm just going to adjust my camera view like that, so you can see me a little bit better. So if I put about there, then you can see what I am doing. There we are. So this is my mat. This is an OBD wrap from ODB wraps, battery wraps. So you can see me a bit better with that. So just adjust my chair a bit. So this is what we're going to be building on. I keep all my RTAs and RDAs in these clear pop tubs. It just saves them to clean them all the time. It keeps them clean and airtight. So, does anybody remember this tank? So this, I'm sorry about the glare, this is the VCM tank, VCMT RTA. It's 25mm, and it has had some use back in the day. But VCMT stands for Vapor's Cloud Mega Tank, and that is what we're going to be building on today. So that's what we're going to be building on. So once I've built it and started vaping it, we will talk a bit about it as well. But that's what we will be building on today. The VMCT, or the Vapor's Cloud Mega Tank. So that's what we're building on. Excuse me, it's warm here, and there is, my hay fever has been absolutely ridiculous today. Have another drink. Have another vape. So it's going to be the same aliens that I've made before. I'll be using 26 gauge NI80 from Stealth Vape. That's what I'm going to be using as my core. And as my Clapton or my alien, I'll be using the NI80 36 gauge. So I'm just going to set up a couple of things, get some tools that I will need. Pliers, I will need some cutters, I will need that to put my core holder on my Just move that over a tidgy bit. I will need that, which is my core holder. That is from the Friendly, is it not Friendly? The Handy Coil Factory is where I got that. So we can see what we are doing. So let me check. So the chat's all right. Some people have been coming in and out. I don't know if I am clashing with another live, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to use these. Just helps to hold me little stool that I use to make these coils. So, well, it's not a stool, it's like a little table that I've cut down. I'm just going to bring that to the end there, like so. I will need this, which is just a clamp that I'd got from Screwfix or Tool Station. I cannot remember which one I got this from. And then obviously a drill. I'm just using this one. That was from a RDA.s Pro, which I used to use back in the day, but stopped really using everything because it took the fun out of making coils. So it seems not right. There we go. That's a bit better. Sorry about the camera, guys. Like I say, what I'm working with at the moment. Right, that's not working. I need to be able to see that. There we are. So there we are. That's a bit better now. Now you can see what I'm doing. So there we are. I'm using this. I've got my little table set up with my drill, which I am going to just move over a tad there like that. So I'm going to get my core holder in there. I use this just to tie it down. So I don't need that at the moment. Push that back. And then I'm going to use this just to clamp it down. So that's clamped down, that's not going anywhere, it'll stay steady. I'll just open this core holder here so it's ready for me. So like I said, I'm going to be using 26 gauge. So the way I do it, because when you clapton your wire to obviously make your alien part of your coil, you need slightly more. So with my 3 pieces, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold with a pair of pliers and stretch. It's a soft wire, so it should just stretch, and then when you feel it give a bit, there we are, it is straight. So what I tend to do is I do 2, that's about, I'll do 2 at 25 centimeters, 250 millimeters, and like I said before, I don't know what it is in inches. If you're from America, like I say, I don't know what it is in inches. So pull it, give it a little tug, you'll feel it give a bit, and then I'm going to measure another 25 centimeters, 250 millimeters. I like to give myself plenty extra to play with, because obviously I've got the drill of the chuck and I have got my swivel as well, so it gives me plenty of wire just to play with in case I mess up. Now for my third one, I'm going to do about 30 centimeters, and that's the bit that I'm going to Clapton on to decore for my alien. So I need to pull that a bit more. I'm just going to pull again. That's a lot straight. So like I say, third one, I'm going to do about 30 centimeters, 300 millimeters, and I believe 30 centimeters in inches, is it 12 inches? So 12 inches for my third one. And this is the one that I'm going to be Claptoning on. I'm going to be doing my wrap or my decore to make the Clapton. So I need my binoculars as well because I am blind. So this just helps me see closer to the wire and what I'm doing when I'm eventually wrapping my 3 cores. I'm aliening it. So I'm going to stick this end into my wire holder. There is a little dimple in there to center it off. So I'm just going to rest it in that little dimple and then tighten that up and then lock it off. There we are. So that core is locked off. Just going to grab my swivel. So this is my swivel. It's just basically a vise with a piece of wood and some swivels attached to it. These are ball bearing swivels. They're the best ones you can use. So I just want to do it about there. I'm not going to lock it down fully yet because I want to get this hooked up to my swivel. So to make it easier for myself, I'm just going to stick an L in this, but still holding tension with that. So I'm just going to put an L in there, grab my swivel. So I'm going to hook that in the swivel. I'm going to pull against it, so I'm pulling that way, and then I'm going to just carefully I'm going to try and carefully. It is alive, so there's going to be problems, or there always is problems. So I'm just going to get that going. So I'm just going to pull this out again because it has messed up on me. So stick an L in there. Stick an L, pull, make sure that I'm pulling against the chuck of the drill, and then I'm just going to wrap the end of this around the swivel bit like that. So, and then I'm going to pull my swivel tight. So here I want a little bit of resistance, but not too much. So I've got a bit of resistance there. That's fine. I'm just going to lock this down a bit more. While it's warm, guys, wherever you are, and if you're watching now or you know the replay, whereabouts are you now? Is it warm where you are? Because it's absolutely boiling here. That needs a squonk. So I've got my core wire here that I'm going to Clapton for my decore. So whichever way you feel happy wrapping, or your final wrap, or the way you want to wrap your aliens, if your preferred method is wrapping over the top, you want to do this part Clapton the opposite way around. So if you like to final Clapton clockwise, do your decor anti-clockwise. Okay, you need to do it the opposite way that your final wrap is going to be. So I'm going to get some 36 gauge here. Yeah. So I'm just going to come up behind. I've got a little screw here that I am just going to start. Just going to wrap it round here as many times as I can, and what that'll do is that'll lock the wire down for me. So I'm going to make sure that my drill is in reverse, and I'm going to start doing my Clapton. So I'm just going to send this, hold it 90 degrees, make sure those wraps are nice and tight. Now you probably can't hear the drill, but what I've noticed in a couple of previous live streams is when the drill's on, I tend to shout a lot louder, which I don't need to because it seems to deaden the sound of the drill, the speaker. So I'm not going to talk loud, I'm just going to talk normal. So I'm holding my core wire 90 degree angle and I'm wrapping it. So if you go back on yourself, just reverse the drill, come back slowly and start up again. But what I'm wanting to do is I want to Clapton all this wire. That's why I do this at 30 centimeters, 300 millimeters, because you see it needs slightly more decor, or a longer decor, than your final wires are going to be. So that's why I do this at 30 centimeters. So it gives me that bit extra. I'm not holding right tight, I'm holding right slack. I want to be able to obviously move the wire so I can take it off this piece of 26 gauge. So this drill isn't really fast, it is a bit slow. So I'll just keep checking there, see if anybody's in or has commented. Like I say, I'm just talking slowly because I tend to talk louder when this is on, but not realising that my mic is cancelling the sound of the drill, basically. The drill goes on and then I start shouting. So I'm just talking normal. So I'm going to Clapton this all the way to the end of this wire. Like I say, I'm not holding it too tight, I'm holding it lightly, but tight enough to obviously wrap around this core wire. And this will probably spring back as well once I've cut the leg as well. So I want to go all the way to the end of this wire. And get it as close to the end as possible. Which is about there. I'm just going to put this up, lock it off, but then I'm still going to leave a tail. So I'm still going to leave a tail. Chop this off. It'll probably recoil and spring back a bit, which it has. So like you see there, it's gone a good, say, maybe inch or just short of an inch. Recoil back. So what I'm doing now is I'm just basically testing to see that it moves, which it does move. I know you can't see this with the camera, but the way the camera's set up, I cannot show you this properly because my camera's not good enough to get that close. But it does move, so taking it off here should be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it off here so I can leave a bit of a leg on it. Take the excess and move it away. So I'm just going to nudge that up to chuck there. I'm going to obviously cut my core wire here, being very careful with the core, and then I'm just going to very carefully slide my clapton off this core here. There we are. And then that's your clapton wire decord. So I'm going to put that there and not near anything where it's going to snag, which is there. So now next step, where did I put my Allen key, which is there. Things get lost with this vape mat as well. Or it might be just the fact that I'm completely blind. It might have something to do with it, I don't know. So now what I do is, now that I've finished with my core wire, I put all these wires down. So what I want to do there is I just want to, that's got some bad ends on there, so I'm going to just cut that off there. So this is why I always have extra wire. So I've got wire to play with, extra wire that I'm probably going to end up cutting off. And then obviously room for the chuck as well. Chuck and the swivel. So now that I've got them all parallel and next to each other, I'm just going to slide it in this core holder. So like I say, that has got a center point or a center dip. So I'm going to try and get my middle wire in that dip. So I've seen it there. And then I'm going to lock it in like that. Make sure. So yeah, I'm about center. Lock that in. So one thing I forgot to get out is my core holder, or depending on what you call it, keeps my wires straight and flat in the core. So because I messed up with this wire a bit, because obviously I've touched it and it's bent a bit, so I'm just going to put my wire holder. Now this bit is from this kit that I got with this drill, and it keeps your cores nice and straight while you're clapping in or whatever it is you're doing. So I'm just going to pull my swivel over a bit. I want to just move it back. I want it to have plenty of room, but not too much, because obviously I'm going to adjust. So like before, I'm going to put an L in it, but before I do, I'm just going to make sure that these are all parallel. So I stick an L in it there. Make sure that I'm pulling as well to keep all the wires nice and taut. So same again, I'm going to wrap this round and then I'm going to pull against the drill. So I'm pulling this way. I'm going to take the legs that I've put through the swivel and do that, and then I'm going to wrap it round the wire to lock it in like so. I'm just going to make sure that my holder here in the center moves, which it does. So I'm going to pull this taut now. Same again as your wire when you're clapping in it. You want a bit of resistance in it, but you don't want it too tight as well. So I tend to go to just slight in between, which is about out there. Could go a little tighter. I go in between because if it's too less, then your wire is going to pull on you. If you go too tight, then your wire is going to bend while you're wrapping it. So I want it sort of like in between the two, where it's tight but loose like this. It's tight but loose. So when it comes to, well, not clapping in it, alien in it, it should, while I spin it, keep it all nice and straight like that. So that moves perfectly. Now let's stretch the D-core. So I'm just going to move this so you can see what I'm doing. Just moving that like that. Like that, basically. I get that to where I am. Where are we? So I'm going to use this pole here to stretch my Clapton. I normally thingy it on my desk, but I got some clamps from Aldi. So I've got this big clamp here. So you might have seen them maybe in Aldi. They come in 3 sizes, large, medium and small. So I'm using the large one. So I'm just going to secure it onto my piece of wood like that. There we are. I'm going to secure it onto my piece of wood like that. Have a quick vape. Thanks to the people that keep dipping in and out. Like I say, I do not know if I'm conflicting with another live stream. But I do appreciate the people dipping in and out. Have a vape, have a drink. Cheers again, guys. So I'm going to stretch my D-core. Where's my binoculars? So I'm going to grab my D-core. As I showed you, I did have both ends with a little tail on it. So I tend to do the end where the chuck was. I put it where I'm going to stretch it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift that up and clamp that wire down there, which is perfect. Now I have used this before. It's not the first time I've used this, so I know it will hold when I stretch it. So I'm going to get these and I'm going to grab the other end and I'm going to pull. Now I can't tell you how to pull or decore your Clapton bit. I go on look, some people go on feel, I go on look. That's why I wear these binoculars while I'm doing it, so I can look at the wire while I'm stretching it. And I like to get it just slightly under, so I've got a bit of a pinch. You overstretch your claw, you overstretch your core, game over. you cannot use it, it won't wrap right, you'll have to make another decal. So hopefully that won't happen again in this stream. So I'm just going to get up. I'm just going to grab the other tail end with my pliers and make sure that I'm parallel with this, and then I'm going to pull. And then also looking at my wire as well. And I'm going to pull it about there. I'll let go of it because it might recoil or spin. Whatever you do now, do not snag this wire, because this is where things could go wrong as well if you snag your wire. So I'm just going to be very careful with this. I'm just going to lay that down near my feet. So I'm just going to very carefully pinch that. So I should have a bit of a pinch on that. So what I'm wanting to do is with this end of my thingy, I want to make sure it's not anywhere where it can snag. And then I'm going to feed this end into here. So I'm just going to move that wire holder, stick that in. I'm going to use this wire holder to shove it all the way up to the chuck. Just going to leave that there. That moves freely, which is what I want it to do. Don't forget to put your drill in reverse, the opposite direction. So I was clapping in under, so I was wrapping from underneath. So now when I'm doing the alien, I'm wrapping from over the top. That's why I say, if you're comfortable doing it over the top, do your Clapton decal from underneath. Now, if you're the opposite way around and you prefer to wrap your Claptons or your aliens from underneath, then do your decal from over the top. So if you've catched my live stream before, you know I don't do this bit really fast. I haven't got to that stage yet where I can just let it rip like most people can do, but steady is good for me. So when you're holding your decal, I'm going to hold it, try and get it going with the wraps, get me pinch right. You want your decal to be slightly leaning towards this way, towards your chuck. So you want to be sort of like ahead of the game. Okay, so when you're Clapton, you're at a 90-degree angle, like that. So when you're doing your alien part, you want to lean forward a bit. Best way I can do it. So you want to lean forward a bit, so your wire wants to be heading towards this way a bit and not 90-degree. So I'm just going to start off slow, get a few wraps going, which is what I like to do to get my pinch correct. Which I think I have. Just going to move that over a bit. So I've got my pinch right. I'm going to speed up a bit. I'm not going to speed up a lot because that's when I go wrong. But I'm just going to keep my pinch like this. Stay slightly towards the swivel. Don't increase or decrease your pinch in your thumb and finger. As obviously when you're going a bit faster, release your pinch just ever so slightly, which I think is where I go wrong when I go too fast. But I will speed it up slightly, but once I'm comfortable with the speed that I'm doing, I will not increase that speed. Because obviously then my pinch as well. And that wire guide should move as I Clapton. So like I say, I'm not going too fast. I will gradually speed up just slightly. But like I say, I won't go too fast because then that's when I'm going to start making mistakes. So thank you to the 3 people that have joined. I'm just aliening my 3 coils of 26 gauge. I've got a decent enough pinch on it. I'm slightly towards the swivel with my D core. I don't like to go too fast because that's when I start making mistakes. So I'm just going to increase just slightly. Like I say, slowly but surely. I'm just going to increase just slightly. And hopefully I won't regret doing that. So I'm going to test my luck and go a bit faster than what I normally do. So that's a bit faster than what I normally do. Trying to keep my pinch consistent, my core ahead of the game. And I am sweating. It is boiling hot here. So I don't know what the weather's like where you are. But it's boiling hot and I've got sweat dripping from my face. So I'm going to increase a bit slightly more, keeping my pinch good. I'm not going to go any faster than that. So like I say, I've always got extra wire just in case. I should have enough decore here to make 2 decent aliens to go into the VCMT. I will be doing a 2.5mm ID just so it fits in the deck nicely. But yeah, these wraps are coming along really nice. Everything looks consistent at the moment. So I'm going to keep going to the end or until I run out of decore. Thank you whoever's jumped back in. Do you want to comment? I hope I'm not shouting because what I tend to find is when I watch back my live stream, as soon as I put the drill on, I tend to talk louder when my microphone drowns out the side of the drill. So I'm trying to talk normal, so I hope I'm not shouting. Got a nice pinch on here. I'm making sure I'm not gripping it too much so the wires fold up on itself, because obviously you don't want that to happen as well. Because with aliens, it's not like Clapton's. If you mess up, it's game over. You just have to carry on and hope that you've got a decent enough amount to make a coil out of whatever it is you're doing. So I'm making sure that I'm ahead of the game. I'm getting nearly to the end of my decore here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slow it down. And then I'm going to slowly move up. Now there is some imperfections here at the end. And I'm just going to slowly move up. If you get any imperfections right at the end, don't worry too much about it. You can use that as a leg part of your coil. there we are. Just going to move that slightly. I do have a bit more decal here, so I'm just going to stretch and wrap a bit more. So this is what if you're somebody who uses coils or pre-made coils, obviously this is what the person that you buy off will be doing. So I'm going to cut that off there. I'm going to cut this tail off here. I'm just going to grab that coil holder because I don't want to lose it. And because I'm finished with it, I'm just going to get it back in there. Boy, am I warm. Get this tea towel and give my face a wipe. So, give these a wipe as well because my head was sweating like I don't know what. So there is a bit of a bend in it. That looks pretty decent all the way through, apart from the end just here. It shouldn't really be a problem. I'll use that end as leg end. So I've got my piece of alien just there. Bit of housekeeping. I'm just going to remove this bit from the chuck and move that up. And I'm going to release the drill. Put that away so I don't lose it. Going to move my swivel out the way. Put my clamp away. Stick my drill away. Move off to this. Get that out of the way. I can just move these out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. I am finished with that. Need a cold drink. There we are, guys. So pop that away. I will need that. And I will need a coil winding tool. Just move that out of the way. Seam in a bit. There we are. So I'm just going to move this down, just so you can see a bit what I'm doing here. There we are. I'm just going to adjust my camera to that, like that. So that's the finished result. Let's hope this hasn't. So that is your alien there. I wish I had a better lens. just to show you how well this has come out. Let me try bringing that back out. Will that do it a bit of justice? There we are. So there's the Alien, nicely, tightly wrapped. Like I say, I just wish my camera were a little bit better so you could actually see the detail. But yeah, 3-core 26 wrapped with 36. And as you can see on this side, there's a little ridge in the center, like that. And then the opposite side is flat. So the bits with the ridge is where you want it over, so you want the flat bit on against your coiling tool. So let's get these wrapped. I'm going to wrap them at 2.5mm. So I'm using a Coilmaster jig. I'm using Coilmaster rods. So I'm just looking for the flat side, which is there. So this is a flat side. So there is a bit of a twist and stuff in it. Don't worry, they should come out with the wrap. NI80 is very soft wire, so it should just wrap nicely. So this is how I'm holding it. I'm holding the flat bit or the back of the wire against my coiling rod jig there. What I didn't do is just quickly measure this. And yeah, that is enough for 2 coils. So let me just find the flat end. So that's the flat end. Like I say, I'm holding it like that against, and then I'm going to wrap. So I'm going to do 5 wraps. So first wrap, second wrap, third wrap, fourth wrap, and 5 wraps. Now normally I'd coil at the opposite end, but because I know I've got plenty of wire here, I'll just cut this off here. So that's 1 coil. Just going to quickly find that ridge, and that's the flat end like that there. So same again for coil number 2. Same thing, placing the flat end against the rod, 2.5mm rod, like so. And then I'm going to do another 5 wraps. So first wrap, second wrap. Want to keep them nice and tight, or as tight as I can. 3, and then 4, and then another one makes 5. And that's coil number 2. So I'm just going to chop that leg off. I don't know how well this is going to come up on screen, but I'll just pop them on there like that. So the camera doesn't do this justice. Like I say, I'm working with 1 camera at the moment. Oh, that's a bit better. There we are. So got a couple of aliens there, 2.5mm. So core is 26 gauge NI80 and outer wrap is 36 gauge. So I've got two 2.5mm ID 5 wraps. So I'm going to put them to the side at the moment. Thanks to the two that I just did back. Have you, do you want to comment? Tell me who you are. Just having a vape. If you haven't joined, I've got a raspberry cream soda sour on there. So what I'm going to quickly do is I want to quickly grab my other beer and let the dogs out to go to the toilet. So I'm just going to have a quick break, quickly do that, grab my beer and come back, and then we'll get these coils installed on the VCMT. So stick around, guys, do whatever you need to do, and I'll just get, where are we? This. Right, guys, I'll see you in a couple of minutes.